Then he said, like, you're already at the table. You don't have to. They already see you as an expert. And I think, do you want me to be really honest? I was listening to this story for like 30 minutes and he was explaining stuff. And my first reaction, because I've always been brutally honest and really sure about why do a lot of companies from the States fail when they want to go to Europe.
Hey everyone, it's Mukund. I'm the host of The Great Fix. For today's episode, I'm excited to sit down with Douwe, a GTM operator who has spent the last 15 years in startups, cracking how companies actually grow across borders, especially the markets of Europe. He isn't looking at Europe from the outside. He has lived and built within it. He has seen firsthand how subtle nuances of culture shape whether a deal ever gets made or not. In our conversation, we talk about big mistakes companies make when they try to expand into geographies, why copying US playbook often backfires, and how to build a real go-to-market before you send a single email. We talk about WhyThey, the framework that maps every growth stage back to its core, why they notice, why they engage, why they onboard, and why they expand. Because in this world, everything starts from the ICP. Let's dive in.
Why are all the cars going like this? Like I just like why aren't they facing the same way? It's like everybody's going like this.
Perfect. So I
Yeah.
think we can start with one very simple thing. How did you end up here?
Mm.
Where did you like? Where were you born? How were things when you were?
Oh, yeah. So funny thing is, I've only lived in cities with an A. So
With
I was
A.
born in Alkmaar. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Apeldoorn because my parents separated and my mom went back to her family in Apeldoorn. I went to Amsterdam after, met my lady. My son was born there. And then we moved outside of Amsterdam to Almere, and also with an A. And my son grew up. We basically had a lot of freedom around the house. We had a big garden, and now a couple of months ago we moved to Arnhem. So looking back where I grew up, so I was born in Alkmaar on a houseboat where my parents lived. And then I grew up in Apeldoorn, which is the biggest village in the Netherlands. It's bigger than some cities, but technically it's like a village. So
Perfect. So you mentioned from the previous conversation you were not in the space of marketing growth, but you were doing something else way back.
yeah, so I started. So after high school, I was studying information management, and basically it was a triangle between what people do, what systems and processes do, and what information is doing. So the intersection of that is what I studied. And I still remember the moment I did my end project for my studies. I basically found a company to take knowledge management really serious, and they asked me like, and this was the first hour with the director of that company. And he asked me, he told me what he wanted to do. And he said like, I want to have an information system because it was a development company. They had a lot of programmers there, and they were all outsourced, or they were all at companies they worked for as their like the clients. So there was a lot of knowledge at these companies that should have been from the parent company, but they're all like at their clients. So some of them stayed with that client for like 6 years. So they had more a relationship with the client than with the parent company. So this was a huge risk for the company that all of that knowledge just leaves. So they asked me, like, can we build an architecture of a system where we can capture knowledge? And I was listening to this story for like 30 minutes, and he was explaining stuff. And my first reaction, because I've always been brutally honest and really sure about my opinion. I've always had this. And I said, that doesn't work. Was my first reaction. And it startled him. And I think this was one of my first real mentors, that really knew that I had something else to bring. And he asked me why, and I said, like, systems will enable culture. If there's no culture, system will enable nothing. And then he asked me, like, how would you do this? And I said, I don't know. He said, like, yeah. And then I quickly said, give me 6 weeks. I'll figure it out. I'll do research. I'll do interviews. I'll do basically what lean startup is. Now, like later, lean startup, like customer development, like doing interviews, understanding the problem, coming up with solutions. And I think what shaped me as a person at that time is doing the analysis, doing interviews, doing a scan of 500 people, and analyzing all of the problems, coming up with a problem statement and trying to solve that. And then I found out, like, okay, but I'm like 3-year-old, and I have like these 5 directors that I need to educate on this. I don't feel secure enough to do a workshop. So I thought, like, okay, how do I get the message across and make them come up with the solution? So I created a game, a knowledge management game.
This was which year it was? 2000
4 million years ago. Let me think, like somewhere 2004 maybe.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was like 20 years ago. And so I created the game. They played the game. They basically got all of their problems, their knowledge management problems, and in the game they got solutions, and they had to apply them to solve that problem. Basically creating a whole playbook, like we want to do with GTM. Create a playbook for them to then implement. So that moment basically shaped my thinking for doing GTM as well. So afterwards, I went to go and freelance. I ended up at a management consultancy that had a investment structure next to it. So it like a VC, but it wasn't a VC. But and I played around with a lot of startups, and I was like, fuck, I don't know anything about sales. So I then quit my job, eventually got a job at like a cold calling thing where I basically try to drag the other person through the line and made them pay me like 25,000 euros for advertising. So after that, I really hated that job, by the way. I fucking hated the job. It got me really depressed. I really quit my job on, like I said, I don't want a severance pay or I don't want to have like anything. I just want to go. Can I go? and then I left, and then I took like 3 months off, got some really shitty jobs, and this was like after maybe 5 years of working. I was like, fuck. And I basically took any job there was out there, was like at one point putting stickers on stuff. And they paid me to do like distribution, was like really production work to just pay my bills. And then I thought like, okay, I need to do this different. So then one of the VCs I knew asked me to be the CEO of one of their companies. So going from production work to being CEO in like a week was pretty interesting. Basically, getting the company from almost bankruptcy to viable, and then I thought like, okay, I like this. And then lean startup came in.
Okay.
Lean startup, customer development, all these like ideas around entrepreneurship, like getting customer like intel, and then putting into product and making that like a flywheel is like really interesting, because all of the people at the VC and all of the people in the management consultancy and everybody at school always told me, you make it, you ship it, you make it, you ship it, and there's no feedback there. And it was like everybody's like trying to push their solution through this really small hole that is total addressable market, and nobody understands that process, and it's not predictable, and it's not scalable, and it's not like there's so much missing. It's they make it out to be an art, and it's process system. It's like there's a hierarchy of questions as an entrepreneur that you're that you need to answer. This is the same for a painter. This is the same for an artist, and this is even more true for a SaaS founder, I think. So and then I rolled into doing lean startup consulting, helping like 250 teams in the last let's say 15 years. And never looked back, and had a couple of hurdles, and had some big success, and ended up being an investor, and having these beautiful founders, work together with them, creating companies that are doing great. So that's the really short version of my backstory. Sorry to take this long, but yeah.
So when you were speaking all these things, I was also having my note in front of me, and questions were popping up in my head. So I've written like 7-8 different questions. Have you worked beyond Netherlands? Like, I can see that your experience has been in that country. I mean, I can be wrong as well. And is it true that a lot of the work that you have done till now is in that country or in that region specifically?
So, and region, you mean the Netherlands or?
Netherlands and little bit countries around that. So do you target those regions, or do you do diversification now maybe? But how is that for you?
So I think in general, the place where you come from, you understand that market the best. So my market is mainly Europe.
Okay.
And especially northern west part of Europe. The mentality is almost the same. There is some nuances. And you probably have this in India as well. You have certain areas where you like there's such a huge difference in culture and mentality that it's counterintuitive to sell there. So for a Dutch person, like in general, the Dutch population is opinionated, which is fine, but it's really direct. We want to go straight to business, and it doesn't really match up with like Southern Europe, where you have a lot of small talk, and the last 5 minutes of the conversation is about business. We want to have a lot of the business done and then have the small talk after. But I've worked for companies in the States, Greece, France, Spain, Germany, Sweden, Denmark. Yeah.
I have a
So,
question here, and the question is about perception.
yeah.
What we understand sitting here in India, if we want to maybe explore other markets as well,
Yeah.
the Europe or the North American region is like a golden opportunity
For sure.
for Indians. But the problem is a lot of the companies based in that golden region perceive Indians as fraud, or not just fraud, maybe let's not use that word, but what's the real perception that you might have had during the conversations with companies there?
Do you want me to be really honest?
Yeah, be very honest, like, because
Yeah. So
I'll
there's
share.
a layer of protection that you put. Like when I get a cold call and
Uh-huh.
it's like an Indian accent, I instantly like go into check mode. I ask different questions.
Okay, what do you mean by check mode?
So, like last week, Friday, I had this conference, called me up. I was the winner, or I was eligible for like let's say important spot at their conference. I could have been like a speaker or something, and then I had to fill out a form, and they had like a back end. It was pretty sophisticated. If it's a scam, it's really sophisticated. If it's not a scam, there's just a little bit not enough information. So it was like, felt a little bit icky. But there was like a history of other conferences, and it was like, this is quite okay. And then I had to put in my submission. I had to pay $50.
Okay.
And it was like, So yeah, I was like, So would this have been? So if an American with a thick American accent called me up, and there was like the same kind of history and like this process, I would definitely also had a couple of flags raised at the $50, because it doesn't make any sense if you ask me to be at the conference and we'll reimburse you everything, blah blah blah, and then I have to pay $50 to apply. But in general, maybe that's personal. I in no way, shape, or form can speak for anybody else. But I'm reserved. But I also like cold calls. Like I like to fuck with them. I like, and then especially if they're not really good, I will I will teach them. We'll talk about like the structure of his call, and how we could improve like the first little moment. And so perception. So your question was about perception. In general, I think there are two layers. I think like the majority of the really big tech companies in the US are governed, or are their CEO or the CIO is Indian. So there's one part there. I think the majority of the. So what I feel is like there's like a huge potential, and India has the largest population. If you just go, the statistics is that they're probably
The largest country.
the largest, and they produce really smart people. So it's really normal they will be in a position of power, and then because it's so large, there's also like a really big group of people that probably don't have enough money to eat, and so
So the
in
main
general, a
thing,
large population that
yeah.
I don't understand. Also, if they come into like from a cold calling perspective, if a Chinese person is going to call me, I also will have flags. If a Brazilian calls me, I'll also have red flags. So it's maybe not India, but it doesn't help that there are a lot of Indian scams.
So how does someone really do it? There has to be a right way.
Yeah.
Pretty sure there has to be right way. Is it being very genuine with the conversation and then giving, and then doing that ask thing? Because I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of people here in India, and the moment you ask them, hey, what are your aspirations? How do you want to grow your company? One way for them would be, hey, let's open up. Let's expand geographies. And again, same thing. Let's go to Europe. Let's get European customers.
Yeah.
And if you ask them, how do you think we can do that? Blast email, launch.
Yeah.
And the moment you do that, you receive replies back. Europeans are very direct. They will even reply back on cold emails. How did you get my email? Take me off. Not just take me off the list, but they'll really be vocal about receiving messages.
Yeah. So Europe has a really high privacy standard.
Yeah.
So if you do that, then so if you do what the scammers do, but then with a good purpose, maybe that's not the best direct route. So my philosophy in business is that most of the great stuff comes from understanding. So it doesn't mean you like design thinking, you go out and then no. I like the more entrepreneurial way is that you're right until you're wrong, and if you're wrong, we'll pivot. But making a right choice in the beginning comes from customer understanding, and customer understanding is a combination of understanding their situation, what pain they're in, what kind of impact they want for their business or for themselves, and then what kind of triggers or events will drive their change. If you understand that, it's easier to write messaging. It's easier to resonate with content, either email or, and you also understand what their preferred way of communicating is. So if you understand that and you put a lot of effort in that, it becomes easier. So why do a lot of companies from the States fail when they want to go to Europe? It's the same reason, because you can scale an Indian company in India. Like, and you don't you maybe have to have different tactics, but in general, there's an overarching culture that you can then use. In Europe, that's different. So so not every part, but some parts are so much different to sell to, from a budget perspective, from the way they do sales, the way they trust people, how much information. The difference between Germany, that's a bordering country, and the Netherlands is huge. So the Netherlands is way more entrepreneurial.
Mhm.
So they will make decisions on less amount of information, and the Germans really want to see proof. So if you're a startup and you're trying to sell, they really want you to talk to them in German. They really want to have German proof. They want to see what the whole output is. They want to see ROI. They want to see the system. Their culture is built around understanding and optimizing systems.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
and I live maybe 50 kilometers from the German border.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
I cross that border, mentality totally changed.
Got it.
Okay. Does that answer?
It does. It does. So I
Yeah.
think if I just summarize it back to you,
Yeah.
there is some form of perception bias, not just in Europe, everywhere. So everyone tends to trust people from their cultural spectrum.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So we cannot really just wash it off that this does not happen and you can just do marketing and make the conversations very easily. That would be our second thing is genuineness, that you've done your homework and you're not just greedy and hungry that more markets, more money, conversion rate, and all the other stuff. I
Yeah.
think we move forward with that, we can see some success. Plus, again, you need some onshore partner as well.
Yeah. Historically, it's you can definitely say that you trust the people that look like you
Hmm, hmm,
more than you trust people that don't look like you.
hmm,
It's
hmm, hmm.
uh,
I mean, there's nothing wrong about it. That's how human biology, like
yeah,
evolutionary. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like the Netherlands got overrun um, by Vikings.
yeah,
They look different. They were bigger. Like, oh, what are those? Why are they coming with boats?
so very strong, like very big, large, strong people, Vikings.
Yeah,
Were.
it's like get them away. What are they doing? It's
You
like,
might have
yeah,
heard stories of Vikings as well when you were young, right? When you were a
come
child.
again?
So when you were young,
Yeah.
your mother might have shared stories of Vikings with you.
No, this is way back. Like I'm not
Okay.
that old.
No, 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 but usually that.
No, but there's like cartoons and stuff, and you have a northern part in the Netherlands. They have way more blonde people,
Mm, mm,
and they have their own language, and it's Friesland, and it's beautiful, and they have uh, you can assume that the Vikings had more to do with how they look.
mm,
Um,
mm,
yeah.
Got it. Perfect. I have a question around the yesterday's post.
Oh
The,
my. So which one? I like two.
so you spoke about increasing the business 2.95x.
Oh yeah.
We were increasing percentages, micro changes accumulates and becomes like 3x growth overall. And my real question was, when you're in SaaS, the numbers of customers and metrics you have in double digits. So you can say, okay, 5%,
Yeah.
5% of even 100 is 105.
Yeah.
But the moment you say service based, when you're selling a service, and especially young, let's say if I am building my own service, how would that work? Is it like not really thinking on those lines right now? That's too early for a service person, or that can still be done, which you were talking about?
So the question is, does revenue architecture work with a service company? And revenue architecture is,
Especially early stage service
yeah.
companies.
So my post yesterday about compounding small changes to change your company like almost 300%.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
This applies if you're not. Let's define early stage first. So how many customers, and let's say a standard like US dollars. What would you say early stage service company?
Let's stick to customers, and let's say someone is in the early stage service space, they just have not more than 2 or 3 customers. They just
So this doesn't apply to them.
They doesn't.
If you have 2 or 3 customers, you probably don't have a system.
Then what do you recommend? Like if
this becomes interesting, let's say so let's say you're a mid-size. I do like to use a couple of figures to make it apply. So let's say you're mid-market European. Let's say your annual contracts with your service. Let's say you're an SEO service company. Like you're helping small, medium businesses improve their SEO. Is that an example we could use?
Yeah.
What kind of services would you mean? Your service, or
we can take that. The question is for the audience if they're in that very baby stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in the baby stage, just build a beautiful system based on best practices. So I would say so we work with a couple of companies that have like 4 customers.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do we do? So the compounding effect doesn't work because 1 month you're not having any sales, the second month you have like 3 sales, and then until you actually have like a process and a system and you have enablement. So you first need to design, and it's not as complicated as it sounds, but design your motion. So you have your ideal customer profile, and that comes from you knowing the market. Like you need to have some domain expertise, you need to have some market expertise. Otherwise, why the hell are you in that market? Why are you trying to do that? So either if you're a service company and you're doing something you've never done before, do a couple of things for free. Talk to a lot of people, really understand that group, understand that problem, understand the impact that they have, create an offer, start doing that, and then build a GTM. So let's say you have 5 customers.
Yeah.
And you're making enough to, and you're with 2 people, and you can make enough to make a living. So that's a good moment where you just also put a little bit of energy into strategy. So 1, you have your ideal customer profile. 2, from that profile, how much money per customer per year do you bring in? That's the first question. It's like, okay, we have this ideal customer profile. We're understanding their situation. How much money do they bring in? And you can use winning by design principles to say, okay, if I bring in, let's say 15,000, then I'm able to do a low touch motion or a medium touch motion. This means we can have like 1 or 2 or 3 moments before they say yes, or we can have like 5. It's totally different. The other difference is how much money can you put into marketing and sales, and how much does a new customer cost. This is all tied into how much is the contract value per year. So if you have that system and there are great blueprints you can already use, it's like that's why it's not as hard as so then taking, let's say, a discovery call and then taking a demo call, playbook from Winning by Design, or any playbook that's already out there that's battle tested, and just use that and then make it your own once you
Mm-hmm.
test it and refined it, is already a better system than having nothing at all.
Yeah.
So the last thing you need to solve is channel and messaging.
Mm.
So if you understand your customer, you'll probably understand, you can turn their situation, their problem, the impact that they desire into messaging. But you also need to find a channel. Where are they? So where are they, and where and if you know where, are they in the right mindset?
Mm-hmm.
So your target group can be on TikTok, but if their mindset is on leisure and you want to sell hardcore B2B stuff, it's maybe not the best channel for you. But they're all there. So maybe it's a good channel. So offer ideal customer profile, turn it into emotion, turn the ideal customer profile into messaging, understanding the channel, run a system based on benchmarks and like things that are already designed, and then playbooks that are already open source out there. And then once you hit like 20 customers,
Then the
do it again.
Understood. So I've seen that you have been part of the Pavilions chapter in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And then you're ambassador for Winning by Design.
Yeah.
And the recent thing, which is WhyThey, it has a philosophy. It has a thought to it. That's one part. That's one thing. The other thing is, when I am seeing conversations on LinkedIn where people are speaking up, they have a problem with, let's say, Pavilion.
With
Pavilion, the way Pavilion, and what they're saying is, Pavilion is pushing revenue as a bucket, and chief marketing officers, the marketing as a thing is being pushed out for growth in revenue. So it's more like, who is responsible for revenue? Is it the sales team or marketing team? So these are the two things, and the reason I'm combining both of them is there's a backslash as well about these frameworks, and then you have been part of those journey slowly, and now you have your own philosophy as well. What has evolved? What are things that remain strongly there working, and like how do you look at multiple frameworks, and what has shaped WhyThey? You are on mute, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, my kid just came home and he's really happy.
Okay. Perfect. No worries.
So your question is, where does revenue responsibility lie?
And not just like one thing is revenue. Like, you can point fingers and tell marketing is responsible for revenue, maybe sales. But my main question is, you have seen the journey. You have seen frameworks, new frameworks coming up, and winning by design is a very big thing. What they have, the whole revenue architecture, and now you have your own WhyThey as well.
Yeah.
And from the previous conversation, you shared how what philosophies you have also come close to your experience with your mom. Are you helped her with that?
There's a risk of a really complex answer.
No worries. No worries. We will make sure that.
Yeah. So in general, revenue responsibility lies with the founders. And I mean, technical founders, CEO, like the whole founding team should be fully responsible for creating solutions that create impact. And if the solution creates impact, we need to have more customers. And if we have more customers and retain customers, then we will get more revenue. So I don't follow the thing from Pavilion that they're like because they're onboarding CMO school and they're onboarding like the more CMO part, and they maybe used to be more CRO heavy and more sales heavy. But this is also because most of the SaaS companies are founder-led sales. So sales has always have had a lot of power inside a company because they're making the deals, they're closing the deals. And I think Rowie Hartouf used to work for Winning by Design, had a good point. Like, depending on what kind of motion. So let's say you have a PLG motion, then you should give the keys and most of the budget to marketing, right? But let's say you're running a sales-led motion or you're running a partner-led motion, then most of the budget and the keys you give to sales. Once you hit a certain threshold of annual recurring revenue, you need to hand over the key either to the CFO because your operations need to become a system, and processes are more important than people. In the beginning, it's people. Then it becomes processes, systems over people, because then people are a function in the machine, and it doesn't work without the people, probably. But in the beginning, there's no system, and there's only people. So once you reach a certain threshold, like, okay, founder-led sales, then that's basically our sweet spot is at WhyThey is when you transition from early success and founder-led sales and need to transition into GTM. And if you, and for us, GTM is the whole bow tie funnel, meaning like getting people aware to working towards expansion. It's like that whole thing is for us GTM. So it's not only sales, not only marketing. If people only want to focus on sales, only want to focus on marketing, then it's not GTM, then it's just silos. So if we look at go-to-market, who's responsible for and who gets the biggest budget is basically should be the team that will drive the next phase of growth. And so after GTM fit, so in America that's like 20 million or 10 million, depends on what kind of market you are. So if you have a repeatable, scalable go-to-market system, then you should hand your the keys and most of the money to customer success. Nobody does that because they're probably less alpha than the sales. So somewhere somebody needs to come in and say like, okay, sales, bringing a new customer is a pretty linear process. You have X amount of people, X amount of systems, X amount of like input, and that creates X amount of output. We can, like I said in the post, you can tweak all small little steps so you can get a really high return. But eventually, the only way to be exponential is to retain customers. So you need to, so for a company that needs to go to 100 million or 200 million, you definitely need to have a magnificent customer success team that and a magnificent product that is built and designed to retain customers and to retain the level of impact people had before, because otherwise they will just churn and go to a competitor that is more innovative.
Got it. So, very simple question. What is WhyThey?
So yeah, we're figuring it out like every week. But short answer, it's a boutique, ideal customer profile driven go-to-market strategy company. And we work with SaaS, AI native, basically tech companies that want to scale from like 500K up to 1 million, up to 10 million. Our sweet spot is more around 1 million to, let's say, 2-3 million, where we can have the transition from founder-led sales into more motion designed process. And the fundamentals that we find is like we can bring everything back from the ICP. So let's say you have like 80 customers. We'll figure out the 16 customers that we need to look into deeply and build the whole strategy around that. Because if you have the ideal customer profile, like best customers, so we focus on why they notice, why they engage, why they onboard, why they expand. All of those questions we need to get answers to get the right ICP. If we have an ICP, we have messaging. The same as for the service company. It's like if we have ICP, then we can change messaging. If you know messaging and you know a little bit about the market, you know positioning. If you know positioning and messaging, you can do your whole redo your website, do sales enablement. You can do content structures. You can do basically everything that GTM needs. All starts from that ICP. And I think that's a little bit different than some others that are either technology focused or they are channel focused. And so we tend to hire experts in, let's say, the ICP demands that we choose meta ads, then we're not an expert in that. I will definitely need to hire a meta ad expert to really create a great set of ads or create a funnel.
Got it. So you're putting customer research, not just like the insight that's coming from your current customers, decomposing everything and then building the ICP.
Yeah. So so our first 3 steps of the process is doing pipeline analysis. So understanding what the total base of customers, where they come from, who they are, how much revenue. It's like basic pipeline analysis, win-loss, really understand who they are and how to cluster. Second, we do market analysis. So we figure out what the total addressable market is, how it's moving. Is it a growing market, or where is it growing? In which country do we see the most adoption? All of that stuff we try to figure out. And then the best case scenario is that they have some form of marketing, sales, and customer success node structure in their CRM. So let's say they've collected like a year of spiced information, like situation, pain, impact, critical event. That would be my ideal situation, where we then export all of that information and then do cluster analysis. So we can score the best customers and then use their spiced to then create the ideal customer profile. Because for the ideal customer profile, we need a couple of filters. We need a filter firmographics. like geo, like how big they are, where, like what they do, what vertical or industry, or like all these things that you can look up in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. But we also need to understand their situation, the pain, and all of that. And that together, for me, becomes the ideal customer profile. So we can then,
that's the point where you give the everything to the customer, your client back, and then they can take forward, or you take things after that as well, took care of.
yeah, that depends on the client. So this is what we do always. So we just finished a beautiful project with a company from South Africa, and we basically we always keep in mind what our output should be, so that marketing, sales can just take all these things and then apply it to their situation. But in most of the cases, they don't have somebody to lead their GTM transformation. So what we do is, like, we do the ICP, then we do system design. So we design the motion, we help them with enablement tools, we basically build or revamp like playbooks if they don't, or if they do, we put our own principles in there, and then design the whole system. And keep in mind, this is like for really early stage is like 3 weeks. For let's say up to €1 million in revenue, it's like 4 weeks. And if it's $1 million to 5 million, it's 4 weeks, or maybe we'll afterwards also create it like in sprints. But after the first delivery, we start coaching.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and one thing that's different between others, and like a really big chunk of the payment they do for our strategy, they get back.
Okay.
So we give them the money back if they do exactly what we ask them to do. So we predefine steps. So if they fast track our strategy creation, because nobody wants to pay for strategy. I as an entrepreneur don't want to have anybody come in, then do like a month worth of work, and then come and it's like ta-da! It's like no, it's like the money will be made if we change the playbook, if we use the playbook and then iterate on the playbook. That's where the money is made. So like 25% of our strategy gets reimbursed into the channel of choice. So let's say LinkedIn ads is, or LinkedIn is our preferred channel. And we're going to use like a cold layer ads and then a retargeting layer. Then why not fund a part of that with the strategy stuff? So we want to lock in that everybody is on the same page. And after 3 months of coaching and implementation, which is a small fee, we fully get paid through new customers. So new signed.
That makes perfect sense. I have a question, which is every marketer, every GTM person, someday or the other, they have this urge to build their own SaaS. Have you experienced that? Like, I want to also build SaaS and just market it myself.
So at the moment, so you're asking me if I have that. So I'm a bit scared.
Huh?
I'm a bit scared. Yeah. So either I don't have it at the moment because I'm building something that's repeatable. Me and Thibaut, we really want to build something where strategy is free. I want to have something that strategy is free and that everybody can use. And all of our playbooks, all of the stuff that we do, you can educate yourself and then have a coach get you through the hurdles, both like from a mentality perspective, but also like sometimes you need a little bit more guidance to do something. So that would be my ideal situation, that we have another platform, but like a place where we can coach and where people just take these best practices and then apply them. And then if they have a hard time, they can get a little bit coaching. So I don't want to be around. So I don't want to be a fractional CMO for the rest of my life. I want to build a system that people can use and apply all of this stuff on their own with a bit of guidance if needed. So we can then make more money if we have a larger footprint. So I rather help 1 million entrepreneurs at the end of my lifetime than help 100 really qualitatively.
Got it. Done.
Yeah,
Yes.
because fundamentally, I believe entrepreneurs are going to shape the rest of human civilization, not politics. It's like I want to bet on entrepreneurs. So you had a different question.
I can see that thing coming in the frequency as well. A lot of people on LinkedIn, I'm not able to feel that positive frequency come from them.
Mm-hmm.
And being more approachable, and not just approachable, that's a gut level feeling that you have, that you're reverberating positivity around, and you do it a lot on LinkedIn. That really pulled me to your profile, and then I initiated that conversation with you as well. Where is it coming from? Like, very honest, like apart from the podcast as well. Have you
I'm
seen
unsure what you mean.
I mean, have you seen a? I mean, have you seen a lot of struggle that has made you grateful towards life? You want to help millions, or is it how your parenting was done?
Yeah, so everything's relative. But if I go back into my childhood, and that's on a personal level, is like my parents separated when I was 1 year old. I made a conscious decision not to see my father when I was 6 years old. I tried when I was 8. I tried when I was 12, and then I didn't see him for 25 years. I grew up in really modest, almost poverty kind of situation. Growing up without a dad made that I had to teach myself a lot of stuff. Got bankrupt like 3 times almost. Had to like, I fell down and got up by myself so many times that it's really hard not to relate to anybody else that has struggles. And one of the biggest scalable struggle that there is getting over a hurdle in entrepreneurship. And some of the hurdles are, and I'm talking European or Netherlands, is like going above 400K. That's a hurdle. It's like nobody wants to work with you because you don't have any logos, you don't have any proof. So once you have that proof, it becomes easier, and then you hit 1 million, and then everything that you already did is saturated. So your question was, why do I want to help all these people? Is because maybe it's because I would have liked to have somebody.
I mean, we also don't need
that
to
helped
have. It's not a need for a perfect answer. Sometimes you can just feel it, and I think you have given the answer as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. 2 questions, and then I'll not bug you more. Every founder or entrepreneur has their own vulnerabilities.
Come again? They have?
Vulnerabilities, things that they are vulnerable about, things which block them getting ahead. For example, putting your face out is one thing, right? So
Sure.
what has been, or what is that one thing for you as an entrepreneur which you feel is holding you back right now today in the moment?
So there are a couple, but let's look at one that maybe a lot of other people also have is imposter syndrome. Like it's so weird. You're all so I remember one of my co-founders, and he used to say, Douwe, why are you trying so hard in this meeting? We're trying to close this deal, and you're basically proving yourself over and over. You're taking too much space from other people. Like, you're talking too much. You're trying to present yourself. We're already, and then he said, like, you're already at the table.
Hmm. Hmm.
You don't have to. They already see you as an expert. And I think in general, this ties into somewhere in my childhood, like, and this is something sometimes that's really hard to shake, is not having to prove. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's one. Second is, I had a post about this like a couple of weeks ago, is like, there's this cycle of learning, and it's the first step is uninformed optimism. Everybody has this, like the new thing,
Hmm. Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
great, and I see all these people having success with it. Oh my God, I need to hop on this train. And then when you do that, you then figure out that it's way harder than you thought. It's like, it's like, oh my God, they put so much. Now I see how much effort it costs to actually
Hmm.
do this. And I think this also relates to posting on LinkedIn. And it's like, there are so many people like, I'm going to start this. And then they have this vague content that nobody finds interesting. And then they think like, oh my God, nobody's reacting. I get like 3 likes and nobody comments. And then you'll end up, and it's called the valley of despair.
Yeah.
It's where everybody like either figures out
Mm-hmm.
or stops. And so I'll go to that next phase later. It's called informed optimism.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really sexy to do is to go from uninformed optimism and then feel the pain of the informed pessimism, and then picking up something new, and then going in loop and loop and loop. So that's also a pitfall that I had before, is like, I really like doing new stuff. So every 5 year I reinvent the thing that I'm doing. Like, I used to do corporate consulting, but in the startup stage, like, I was connecting problems from corporates, where I had like a rigorous process to understand problems and then find startups and then put them in a system where they can prove their value. If they've proven their value hypothesis, they get an instant purchase order. Everybody happy. Corporate. And it was like, after 5 years, it was like, right, do I need to do this again? And I was like, let's do something new. And then I became an investor. And so sticking to one thing and deep diving and polishing it, and then eventually, when you you suck, but there's like a little silver lining, and there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and you see like, oh, these things are working. Oh, I've got an ICP reacting to like a post. What the hell is this? And then, oh no, there's DMs coming in and like, oh, people booking meetings. And like, oh, this is something like, okay, let's do more of this. And then sometimes in that cycle you have the same like, oh, what am I doing? Like right now is like impressions have gone like to shit. So sometimes it's like 30% of impressions I used to have, and the algorithm changes. But again, it's just following the system, just doing the thing. So that's pitfall 2. You want to have one more?
Yeah, that would just wrap it up.
So I had one. No, let's wrap that up. Like this, I have a couple of more, but it flew away.